What's up everyone, welcome back to more Reddit stories about entitled people, Karens, and all that kind of stuff. So be sure to subscribe if you haven't yet for more Reddit content, and let's get into today's stories. Guy doesn't realize I am his landlord. It backfires. The brain rot and entitlement is insane. For context, I'm in my 30s, work in STEM, live way below my means, and 90% of my income gets invested in my rental business. I have an employee who manages my properties day to day, so I don't actually meet many tenants face to face. I love home improvement, so when I have any free time I do my own repairs and upgrades. Saves me tremendous money. I'm at an 8-unit apartment that I own. I'm repointing the brick siding. I arrived around 6 a.m. on a Saturday, worked for 5 hours, so now I'm sitting down and eating lunch, scrolling my phone while taking a short break. A 72-year-old tenant named Martin walks by. Martin has never met me before because my employee leased him, but I know all about Martin. Income, 100% Social Security, his lease terms, how he calls the property manager yelling because he accidentally unplugs his own appliances, etc. Martin says to me with a smug look, "Sitting down on the job, eh?" "Yeah, just taking a small break before getting back to it," I said. "That's what's wrong with your generation. You have no work ethic, always need to rest. What do they even pay you for?" said Martin. "Excuse me? I've been here working since 6 a.m. fixing this wall. I'm just taking a short break, dude. Please leave me alone." "You're sitting down, you're not working. No work ethic. I bet you're getting paid right now, too. That's why your generation owns nothing. That's why you can't even afford to buy your first house." I had to sit quietly for a second to process what I just heard. It absolutely pissed me off since I've been doing masonry work for hours on my building that Martin rents from me. I say, "Actually, Martin, my name is John, not real name. You should go back to your apartment in 104D and reread your lease, because then you'll realize that I'm the owner. I do my own maintenance sometimes. I've been here doing maintenance for 5 hours. My employee, Kevin, is the one who leased you. Come to think of it, your lease is up in March, isn't it? You can expect a non-renewal." Martin absolutely short-circuited. Complete silence for 15 seconds as he got redder and redder with anger. He then yelled at me that I'm a lazy liar. He'll tell the property manager that I'm sitting down on the clock. Then he waddled off yelling that he'll call the cops because I'm harassing him and trespassing. On Monday, Kevin, my employee, texted me that Martin sent him an email complaining about the lazy worker who insulted him. I instructed Kevin to not renew Martin's lease in the spring, force him to move. F you, Martin. Refusing to let my sister's family live in my house after they sold theirs for a dream vacation. So I, 32 male, own a modest 3-bedroom house that I've been paying off for the last 10 years. It's nothing fancy, but it's mine and I'm proud of it. My sister, 29, and her husband, 31, are the typical free-spirited types. They've always talked about quitting the rat race, living life to the fullest, all that. Well, a few months ago, they finally did it. They sold their house during a booming market, thinking the profit would fund a year-long break to travel. They believed they could stretch the money by traveling cheaply, staying in hostels or Airbnbs, and getting by with occasional odd jobs. At first, they stayed in nicer places and ate out a lot, thinking they had plenty of cushion. But within 2 months, they were out of money. They underestimated how quickly expenses would pile up, especially with 2 young kids, 7 female and 5 male, to feed and care for. Now that their funds are drained, they've decided to stop full-time travel, but don't want to settle down yet. Instead, they asked to live with me rent-free for the next 10 months, while they figure things out. They said they'll still try to take some occasional trips if they find super cheap deals, but for the most part, they want to stay at my house. I told them no. My house isn't big enough. I don't want the disruption, and I certainly don't think it's fair for them to live off me because their plan failed. I offered to help them find an affordable rental or even cover part of their expenses for a couple months so they could get back on their feet, but that wasn't enough. My sister blew up at me, calling me selfish and accusing me of being jealous of their adventurous lifestyle. To make things worse, my parents are siding with her, saying that family should help family and that I'm being too rigid. The thing is, my parents live in a small apartment and can't take in my sister's family, which is probably why they're pushing it on me. They say I don't understand the value of experiences and that I should be more supportive. Some of our mutual friends are also saying I should be more understanding. But I think it's completely unreasonable to expect me to house their entire family for nearly a year just because they didn't plan properly. Okay, so here's the elephant in the room. They sold their house before this. How in the world do you run out of money from 2 months of traveling after selling a house? There's probably a few different possible reasons for this. The first one being that they somehow did actually blow all that money in 2 months. The second scenario is that OP's sister is lying and they do still have money, but for whatever reason they still just want to move in with OP rent-free. The third scenario is that maybe OP just doesn't know about their financial situation. It's possible that when they sold their house, maybe they still had a mortgage on it, of which maybe they hadn't paid very much of at that point, and therefore selling the house probably didn't put much back in their pockets, as most of it went towards paying off the loan. But those details aside, yeah, I don't think it's really fair for them to expect to live rent-free at OP's house, especially because they say they don't want to settle down yet and just want time to figure things out. So basically it sounds like they just want to live rent-free. I mean, it would be a different story if they said they wanted to work and pay rent to OP, but that's not what's going on at all. So family or not, it just kind of sounds like they're trying to take advantage of OP. Food-stealing coworker ends up in the hospital. For the past 3 months, someone at my job has been consistently stealing my food that I bring from home so I don't have to use the snack machine or walk across the street to McDonald's like the majority of my coworkers do. July. In the first month, I noticed someone had been gradually taking some of my food. 1 out of 3 slices of pizza gone, 20% of my soup gone, Cheetos bag completely gone, etc. Didn't think much of it and simply decided to now attach a "please don't touch" paper sign on my stuff. August. In the second month, at the start of the month, my food became untouched, but progressively went back to the usual. September. At the beginning of the third month, I asked my coworkers if they had taken or knew who was taking my food, and no one had a clue, which is kind of believable as most of us take our lunches separately. I decided to eat McDonald's or go to 7-Eleven and stop bringing food, but then it started messing with my financial stability. 10 days a paycheck, 14-day paycheck, consistently buying food? October 3rd, Thursday. I decided to take matters into my own hands. Last week, my friend told me about an Instagram reel that she saw, where a girl put laxative into her own food to see who was the culprit, and that's exactly what I did today. What I wasn't expecting was for the girl, late 20s, to have an allergic reaction to an ingredient and ended up going to the hospital. After work, all of us went to visit her in the hospital where we all talked about what happened, and admitting to putting laxative into my own food. 6 out of 8 coworkers, all girls, were disgusted by my actions and were on her side. 1 girl was whatever about it, and the last guy said she shouldn't have been touching my food to begin with. I told the girl that I hope she gets better and went home, but I didn't apologize for what I did and I'm not going to. October 4th, Friday. Today, day off, I received a phone call from our supervisor, who I spoke to about my issue after the first month and told me she can't help me there because she's not our mom, and essentially told me I had to apologize to her or else I wouldn't be able to come back to work until I do. And I'm assuming if I take too many days, I'd just be fired for not coming to work. My male coworker who was on my side told me the girl is going to take legal action for attempting to, quote, kill her. He overheard the girls talking today at work. Don't forget the fact that my "please do not touch" sign never left. Even though it stopped working eventually, I still kept it there. So when she took my laxative food from my plastic bag, the sign "please don't touch my food" was still on it. And here's a little more info about my work to give more insight. I work at a senior facility where I work as a medicine technician. My coworkers are nurses, caretakers, and front desk. The girl who stole my food is front desk. We have an obsolete no food or drinks rule outside the break room that's pretty small. We can't use the kitchen to store our food due to fear of cross-contamination. I sort of have a desk to put my stuff, but like I said, there's a rule and the HR/supervisor is pretty strict on that. Also, my supervisor is HR. There's no one else in the HR department. Update 1. The supervisor called me about an hour ago telling me she's with the girl in the hospital and now's my time to apologize, or I can come in person to do it, and I said absolutely not. She kept insisting, but in a tone where I was 100% at fault, not her, who has been stealing my food for 2.5 months straight. Update 2. Doctors said the allergic reaction might have been the laxative or my food, which was chicken noodle soup that I made from scratch at home the morning of. They're still running tests. She didn't go to the hospital because she was crapping herself senseless from the laxative. She went because she complained of a huge stomachache and a rash from below her belly button to between her two rib cages. Update 3. One of my coworkers is now in the hospital for the same conditions. Big stomachache and rash around the stomach. Doctors are now certain it wasn't the laxative, as she didn't eat my soup compared to the first girl. Doctors are running tests for the second girl and trying to figure out why two coworkers are having the same issues. Dave, HR, doctors, and male coworker, now ruled out my soup as the cause of all this. I'm required to report to work tomorrow for a meeting between myself, HR, some of my coworkers, and the home office rep. Update 6. The home office rep called me to inform me that the first girl and her husband said they want to sue me, although she's unsure what exactly for. Update 7. Both girls are fine. The rash seems to be going away after giving them Benadryl, Pepto, and vitamins through an IV. Some people think they're on their deathbeds, although it's quite the opposite. From what my male coworker has told me, I wasn't the only victim of getting their food stolen by this girl. The only difference is I'm the only one calling her out on it. October 5th, Saturday. Update 8. I have yet to be served any papers. I've never been sued before, so I'm not sure how long this takes or if the girl has even started the process, or if she's even going to. HR only gave me a heads up yesterday that she said she's going to, not that she already has. The HR lady was being investigated, and during the investigation they found out she had the same symptoms 3 weeks ago, and quietly checked herself into a hospital but is now almost fully recovered. Apart from that, she also confessed to having sexual relations with both girls in the hospital for the past 2 months, and both girls having no idea of the other's sexual relations with HR. October 6th, Update 9. Unfortunately, someone that knows me or what's going on at the company that I work for finally saw my post and sent it to home office, resulting in them firing me as California is an at-will employee state. As for everyone else, they've all now been released from the hospital, but are advised to stay home. The infection was found out to be viral gastroenteritis, stomach flu, or something very close to it, which would explain the stomach aches, diarrhea, fever, and it being highly contagious, but not the rash and why it took so long for them to get sick. I'm going to start looking for a new job tomorrow and hopefully put this whole mess behind me. Thank you to all those who supported me and rode this wild, crazy roller coaster with me. Alright everyone, that's it for today's stories. Thank you for watching, I appreciate it. Be sure to drop a like and subscribe for more Reddit content. So take care, I'll see you next time.